All right, so first, it's important to highlight the companies that are currently providing liquidity to security tokens on the secondary market. So as we've noted in most episodes of this podcast during the trading segment, the 3 live marketplaces right now are T0, Open Finance, and Uniswap. T0 conducted its own security token offering, raising over $100 million to fund the development of its platform. Open Finance raised money privately, but burst onto the scene with its partnership with issuance platform Securitize, which allowed them to list many of Securitize's issued clients like Spice VC, Lottery.com, Blockchain Capital, and 22X Fund. Uniswap is the third and decentralized smart contract protocol that provides liquidity for trading pairs of tokens issued on the Ethereum blockchain. By leveraging this technology, along with a strict whitelist controlled by the issuer themselves, any issuer can manage a realistic liquidity solution to provide secondary trading for its investors. It does not seem to be the solution for high trading volumes because of this whitelist constriction, but at this current point in the industry, that really does seem like a bit of a champagne problem, if you will. As of Q2 2020, the more liquidity solutions, the better.
Couldn't agree with that one more, Kyle. For a pilot run or a case study of initial marketplaces, these platforms all offer real insights as well as validation, I think. So especially as the market starts to add more and more providers, this is a great start.
Right. And so that serves as a nice transition into the next part of the breakdown, where I'm going to be looking at a few of the biggest movers on the trading platform side from around the world. So one mover that has consistently made headlines for their rapid progress and early adoption of security tokens is the Singapore-based iStocks. After successfully fundraising its Series A and receiving approval from the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the company recently completed a fundraise for its first live digitized security, the Eternal Glade Hedge Fund, whose shares will be listed on the exchange. We've actively been in conversations with this team, and we have actually an exclusive interview with co-founder and COO, Darius Liu, that will be posted on the Medium channel in the coming weeks. This is a company that I've been keeping tabs on since 2018. I've actually been speaking with Darius since that time, and I've been consistently impressed by the attention to detail and the regulatory compliance that the company has maintained throughout the process. It is also our 4th live security token exchange worldwide, as they are now trading the Eternal Glade Hedge Fund shares on their platform. So it's a fantastic company there, graduated from the regulatory sandbox, and seems to be the 4th exchange live around the world.
Of course, Kyle, they are awesome. I think all eyes are on them to be Asia's leading security token exchange, especially given all their immense progress with regulators and the momentum they've had in the industry. Still, though, I do know that they will have competition, especially as we learn more later this year, hopefully, from the leading Japanese investment bank and also the leader of the JSTOA SRO in Japan, SBI Investments, who made waves last month when their CEO announced that they would launch a regulated exchange in Japan themselves within this year.
Absolutely. It's going to be very interesting to see how that market continues to develop. I certainly know that from personal experience, I've been out in Asia and in 2018 and really didn't find a ton of interest in security tokens. So it's very inspiring to see not only, not even 2 years later, that they've fully embraced the revolution, and it seems like there's some huge key players that are going to dominate worldwide coming out of those markets. Next, moving to Amsterdam, we can take a look at another company that's flying under the radar that appears to be very close to full security token trading. And I'm talking about N-Exchange, the self-described decentralized exchange platform for tokenized securities and digital assets. So this company received their MTF, which is the Multilateral Trading Facility license. So they're now free to list securities and allow investment into the assets themselves from their platform. The first fundraise that they completed was for the exchange's first security token, which is equity in the Startup Bootcamp Accelerator. The company raised almost over 2 million euros, and the digital IPO was confirmed to be listed on their exchange on December 16th, 2019. However, I've checked the site dozens of times since then and don't see any volume for this Startup Bootcamp token or any price changes. So that suggests to me that they still might not have gone fully live on the N-Exchange website. And the fact that there hasn't been any trades in the last 4 months since it's been listed kind of suggests that that might be true. Seems like it isn't available yet, And we've reached out extensively to the team to find out more answers. So if I can get in touch with them, if I can find out more, I certainly will let you know. That being said, they have self-claimed that it is a tokenized IPO. It is a security token, and it will be going live. So hopefully that can go live soon. And when it does, you better believe that it will be covered here. As we continue our world tour, I think we'd make our way to East Africa to examine the up-and-coming exchange Merge, which has made headlines through its own successful security token offering fundraise last year, in addition to the high levels of regulatory approval that the business has received in its journey to security token liquidity. Merge is a live exchange for stock, debt, and derivatives in the country of Seychelles, with over 31 assets at this time, and is launching a security token exchange to provide liquidity for its own token along with other issuers, including one marquee client, which is tokenizing shares in exotic cars, trialing with the Ferrari F12 TDF worth over $1 million. This exchange is part of the regulatory body of exchanges, which includes members like the NYSE, NASDAQ, and LSE, and is another leader of the pack that has plans to provide liquidity for security tokens as early as the coming months. With its own token, in addition to other high-quality clients in the pipeline, Merge is just another exchange to look out for in the second half of 2020.
I definitely agree with that too, Kyle. Despite being regulated and located on a tiny island nation located off of Africa, they are part of the global financial industry as a national exchange that is able to assign ISINs and trade amongst the other major exchanges that you just mentioned. The difference is the Merge team has far more control and flexibility to implement new technology in Seychelles, and as a result, they have managed to start offering tokenization services today. So as a first major exchange, they're going to be one of the first to come to market with that really sort of institutional offering, and I think it's going to end up becoming very competitive in the market as a foreign exchange to issuers around the world.
And so if we take a different approach, we could look at the Deutsche Börse and ING collaboration along with some other large banks that partnered with HQLAX to develop a DLT-driven solution for more efficient and cost-effective liquidity management and collateral management in the global securities financing markets by leveraging the enterprise blockchain Corda from R3. This was started back in 2018, where ING and Credit Suisse executed the first live transactions on the HQLAX platform, swapping securities baskets valued at around $28 million between the two banks. Unlike other exchanges that are seeking to provide an order book style of liquidity on the open market, the HQLAX platform enables investors to redistribute collateral by exchanging ownership of tokenized securities on the blockchain without requiring the movement of the underlying asset. So to me, it seems like this is more of an atomic swap process for collateralized securities and derivatives. It's a super interesting case study that may merit its own episode in due time because of the complexities and the nuance compared to the traditional liquidity methods that we're used to seeing in the industry and in the public markets. The firm has received a lot of investment and is working with some serious names, but at this time, we don't know of any live liquidity occurring on the platform outside of some test trades and some of these test things. Germany is especially hot right now for commercial real estate and debt tokenization, so it does seem to be that this is a great option for those issuers to find liquidity in the future. It's a pretty exciting one, Herwig.
No, I think you're spot on as well that this may even deserve its own episode in the future. I'm just looking forward to seeing more news from the HQLAX platform throughout the remainder of the year because, as you said, they are working with very institutional, both issuers and partners, thanks to their relationship with the Deutsche Börse and ING. So very exciting.
True. And if we stay in Europe, we look at the UK-based Archax, who is another marketplace to pay attention to for the future. The company received investment from well-known tokenized VC fund Spice VC, which immediately thrust it into the spotlight. Archax filed for the proper permits from UK financial regulators and the FCA, but it does seem like they're still caught in regulatory hurdles in their jurisdiction. This is not just a problem Archax has been facing, but we've seen the same story persist amongst many marketplaces, broker-dealers, and many other financial service professionals. The company has agreed to list Polymath's issued security tokens moving forward, which could help the marketplace kind of establish itself in a competitive advantage in this industry. The company still has a strong brand in the industry, but we don't necessarily have concrete evidence of new token listings in the short term. And then finally, if we circle back to the US, we have two very institutional exchanges that are seeking to revolutionize our public markets. First off, seeking a $130 million public IPO, Gibraltar-based INX exchange has filed to list as a public company on the US stock market, presumably allowing for retail participation in their security tokens. Originally a crypto exchange, it seems like INX is also planning to provide liquidity for security tokens, as the IPO is also an incredibly fascinating structure for their fundraising process. It's going to be interesting to see how this works, in addition to trying to file for these very difficult to get exchange licenses. I can't imagine that filing an S1 and going public would reduce the convolution of that entire process, but it's an incredibly institutional way to handle this process, and one that I think will be interesting to study in the future.
Definitely a landmark deal if they're successful.
And then we have the last platform on our list, which is the Boston Security Token Exchange, a nationally licensed exchange created by a joint partnership between T0 and Box Digital Markets. And Boston Security Token Exchange is a complementary platform to the existing T0 ATS. So while T0 itself is not an exchange, but an alternative trading system aimed to provide liquidity for smaller cap private securities, the goal with BSTX is to provide an institutional platform that offers issuers an alternative to actually going public on the stock market. Instead of IPOing on the NYSE or NASDAQ, BSTX is gunning to offer a new solution to the capital needs of late-stage private companies. This is slotted to go live by the end of 2020, but to open a national securities exchange requires compliance and licenses from the SEC that just don't necessarily have a timetable for when they will be approved. So another one that is taking a very institutional route with this, trying to gun for the top spot, trying to take the crown from NASDAQ in terms of providing tech companies with financing solutions. This is going to be a great one to follow in 2020 as well, Herwig.
You know, they have the name, security token in their exchange, so there's definitely a lot of pressure, I think, even from the industry, hoping that they succeed to really work things out with the SEC and, showcase the technology and hopefully inspire NASDAQ and others to also start leveraging blockchain for their platform. So also interesting to see how T0 has given a path and try to accommodate all types of issuers and potentially allow, security tokens to grow eventually from the T0 exchange to the BSTX when they are ready. So really, really great. Definitely rooting for them. But as you pointed out, there's no telling when or if the Boston Security Token Exchange will ever go live.
Absolutely. And so those are some of the movers and shakers that have continued their development at lightning speed and seem to be up-and-coming liquidity providers in the security token space. I think it goes to mention that this is not the exhaustive list. We have many security token marketplaces and exchanges that are also building and developing that didn't necessarily make this specific coverage. Some of those might include BlockStation or Polybird or many of the others that we've covered week in and week out on the podcast. So definitely go check out that article that really breaks down all 60 live exchanges if you're interested in learning more. And if there's some important updates from other exchanges that we missed, definitely send those my way or Herwig's way so that we can cover that, so we can start tracking them and build a relationship with those exchanges to help them improve their coverage and marketing. So it does seem like there are many different companies, though, poised for a breakout in 2020, and many of them have their own live tokens coming up, or they've already fundraised, or they're ready to list. So this is not just a pipe dream at this point. We have real-world assets that are trading. We've got 13 trading now, and we potentially have 5 to 10 more coming from just these exchanges we've covered in 2020, in addition to any of the new additions to the current exchanges. So when any of these players launch new developments, list new assets, or scale their technology, you can be sure you'll hear about it here first before anywhere else around the world.
And thank you, Kyle, for putting this update together. It's very exhaustive. It makes me super excited about what's to come just this year alone for liquidity and marketplaces for security tokens. So super, super awesome job. And I'm hoping to catch all of you listeners in next week's episode. Thanks for listening.